first 5 blocks the first week of the 30 days of Improv QAL are done. That's pretty cool. This is Carrie with Canary Quilts, and we are on day 5 of the 30 days of Improv QAL, Quilt Along. And I have links down below if you're interested in checking out this quilt along, or you can just follow me here because it's improv. It's kind of putting it together yourselves. If you've been watching, this was my first day and I was so nervous this day to cut my fabric up. I just started cutting in strips and rectangles and putting them together. Still a beautiful block, it really is. And then the second day I was like, well, I want a few diagonals. So I put some fabrics together, cut them, and then put some more together to get some diagonals. And I found I tend to work from the inside of the block out, where I've seen some people who work with big pieces of strips and rectangles and then work down. So I've tended to work from the inside out. Then this one was where I made a bunch of strips and sewed them together and then started cutting those up. And then I cut against the strips and with the strips to make this block right here. And then I cut it here and flipped it so that I've got this line right here. Then my fourth day, I started with this square in the middle and then just started working around and squaring it off as I went. And then this week, I worked with my scraps. So I had the strips left over from this block, and then I just kind of cut them up, put some strips in the middle, and ended up with that block. So it really is, you can't do it wrong at all. But I think what I'm gonna do is work with a different color palette next week. They suggested working with the same color palette and you put it together as a whole quilt. I may do that, I'm not sure. I also may do each week as a little vertical quilt, just made up of those blocks. But we'll have to see when I get done. It is an improv quilt and I may change my mind. But anyway, let's get started making this block. You can watch my process because sometimes I'm like, what do I do next? And then I figure it out. So let's get started. If you're new here and you want to watch this quilt along as I go, it's August 2022. I'm going to be doing Monday through Friday. And we'll get 30 blocks in the end of Improv Quilts, and each week is different. This week was squares and rectangles. So hit the subscribe button, notification bell. You get notified every time I put up a new Improv Quilt block and all the other fun stuff we have going on in this channel too. So check it out. Okay, here we are on day 5 of the 30 days of Improv QAL. I have these scraps left from, I think this was day 3. And just a few other scraps here because I've been tending to build from the center out instead of making big pieces and cutting them up. That's how I tended to be doing it this week. So I thought, well, I'll see what I can do with my scraps. I've got my fabrics here and let's see what I come up with. I really don't know what I want to do, but it seems to always like come to me as I keep going. So let's start cutting. pretty interesting, right? Just kind of took my strips, cut them diagonally, started adding these strips. If I look back, I think I cut it again and then added this strip in the middle and cut it down. So this is what I have left. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, I could save this if I wanted to for in the future. Let's just cut that right now. And there we go. My little improv block used from scraps. So I don't know, maybe next week I'll use a different color palette. I'm thinking at this point maybe each week will be a different color palette, and then I'll have like a vertical strip of a quilt, because I have a lot of places in my house where I have small sections of wall where I could use a vertical strip. That's my thinking right now. It may change as I go. But yeah, after the first week, this has been a lot of fun. It's been really challenging. It really makes me think. It's all I think about while I'm doing the block, especially if you're not used to doing something like this. It's great that no block is wrong. I mean, every block is right. It's just your personal preference. So let me know if you're doing this down below. If you're a part of this quilt along, or if you're just following along and you're giving it a shot yourself, because there really isn't a lot of rules. This week was squares and rectangles. So it'll be interesting to see what the next week's will be, because I know that there's some curves coming up. So that'll be interesting. If you're following along, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. You'll get notified as I keep going with my little quilt along here. And hit the like button, because it really does help the channel out. And I had a lot of fun doing this. I had a lot of fun making the video, and I really appreciate you watching it. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.